Not just ornamental. Most people think they're just ceremonial props. Decorative guards in Renaissance costumes. A splash of color in every Vatican photo. But those plumed helmets and striped uniforms? They're camouflage. Because underneath all that pageantry are warriors, elite soldiers, trained killers. And they're not guarding a museum. They're guarding something far older, far holier. They're guarding the Pope. They're guarding the soul of a civilization. And if you ever thought they were just for show, this story will change your mind forever. Rome's last line. A guard born from crisis. The Swiss Guard was born in desperation. Not luxury. Not peace. It was the early 1500s. Rome was fractured. The Papal States were surrounded by political enemies. France, Spain, German mercenaries. And the Vatican? A ripe target. Pope Julius II knew words wouldn't protect the Church. So he turned to the Swiss, Europe's most feared fighters. These were not common soldiers. They were mountain-born, disciplined, loyal, relentless. On January 22, 1506, 150 Swiss mercenaries marched into the Vatican. They were blessed by Pope Julius himself. A new kind of soldier had entered history. Not for gold, not for glory, but to guard the vicar of Christ. Baptized in blood. The sack of Rome. Their loyalty would be tested just 21 years later. In 1527, Rome was attacked by the forces of Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor. Mercenaries stormed the city, burning, looting, killing. It was a bloodbath. Inside the Vatican, the Swiss Guard stood their ground. Only 189 of them remained. They knew they would die. But they weren't trying to win. They were trying to buy seconds, just enough time for Pope Clement VII to flee through a secret passage, the Passetto di Borgo. Of the 189 men, only 42 survived. The rest died defending the altar of St. Peter's Basilica. They didn't run. They didn't beg. They stood and fell right there at the heart of the Catholic world. They didn't just defend a man. They defended an idea. The impossible requirements. Not just anyone may apply. Fast forward to today. The Swiss Guard is now 135 strong. But make no mistake, it is still one of the most exclusive military forces in the world. To even apply, you must be a devout Catholic, a Swiss citizen, male, between 19 and 30 years old, at least 6 feet 8.5 inches tall, yes, you heard that right, unmarried, in perfect health, have completed basic military training in Switzerland. And finally, you must take an oath before God, to die for the Pope, if necessary. This isn't just tradition. It's a living contract, signed not in ink, but in blood and steel, forged by fire. The training. You don't just step into the Vatican and grab a halberd. Training begins in Switzerland. There, recruits study self-defense, tactical firearms, firefighting, law enforcement, hostage response. Then, they're sent to Rome for advanced instruction, protocol and ceremonial discipline, close-quarter combat with halberds, Italian language, emergency extraction techniques, Vatican-specific security protocol. Yes, those medieval-looking halberds still matter. They're not props. They're weapons. But under the tunic, modern firepower, Glock pistols, SIG assault rifles, tasers, knives, radio-linked communication. These men are trained in both ancient and modern warfare, because the threats they face span centuries. Moment of truth. The day the Pope was shot. It was May 13, 1981. Pope John Paul II was in St. Peter's Square, greeting the crowd. Suddenly, gunshots. 2 bullets hit the Pope in the chest and abdomen. Panic. Screams. But not from the Swiss Guard. They didn't hesitate. No orders needed. No confusion. They leapt into action, shielding the Pope, drawing weapons, forming a human wall. Within seconds, the Pope was in a car, racing to the hospital. They had trained for that moment. And when it came, they didn't blink. Guardians of the conclave. When the world pauses, they lock the doors. When a pope dies, the church enters seat vacant. The seat is vacant. Mourning begins. The world watches. But inside the Vatican, something ancient takes place. The Swiss guard locks the Sistine Chapel. They seal the doors. No phones. No press. No outside contact. Only the cardinals. Only prayer. The guard alone holds the keys. They patrol the conclave. They monitor the black and white smoke. Because while the world waits, the Swiss guard ensures nothing corrupts the decision. It is the most sacred election in the world. And they are the gatekeepers. The final watch. Pope Francis and the silence of steel. As the world prepares to bury Pope Francis, the Swiss guard stands at full attention. Steel armor polished. Swords drawn. Eyes unblinking. Heads of state will kneel. Choirs will sing. Tears will fall. But the guard, they will not move. Because that stillness is not inaction. It is discipline. It is reverence. It is the final salute to the man they swore to protect. Legacy of the few. The brotherhood beneath the stripes. Everyone sees the stripes. But almost no one sees the sacrifice. The Swiss guard is not a costume. It is a legacy, stitched with duty, bound by blood. They are not actors. They are not props. They are the last line. The silent wall between chaos and sanctity. A brotherhood forged in silence. Sworn to die so another may live. And for over 500 years, they have meant every word. If this changed how you see the Vatican forever, hit that like button. Share it with someone who thinks they're just decorative guards. And subscribe to @CryptoStoic Insights for deeper dives into forgotten history, unspoken loyalty, and the silent forces that shaped our world. Because the past isn't dead. It's standing at attention.